Hey, it's Ryan Gillard here at Real Broker, your Calgary Realtor, and today I'll go over the monthly market stats for July. And there are some interesting changes happening to our market. And if you're curious, I've been away for about a month, so I haven't made too many videos, but there are more on the way. And so for this time of the year, it is busy, but I find it busier in terms of possessions. A lot of buyers are buying homes in the winter and the spring months, and they're taking ownership in the summer before school starts. That's a very kind of typical scenario in the Calgary market. So our market is busy, but I think more for possessions. There's still a lot of sales activity, but it is cooling off, which tends to happen in the summer months. And so this is actually the first time in 2 years that we've had an active inventory over 4,000 units. So the market seems to be balancing out a little bit, but it's hard to say. Like, you need to look at long-term movements in real estate to kind of see what's going on, because the summer is always a bit slower. But that's interesting, though. If you look at the stock market, there was a major downward movement yesterday. My opinion, at some point there might be some kind of market correction in North America, and it could be happening right now. It's hard to tell. It's impossible to predict the stock market. But it seems to me like the market might be balancing out a little bit in Calgary as well. But don't get me wrong, the market is still very strong. It is still a seller's market, but maybe it's just balancing out a little bit. So the inventory is up. And I think one of the reasons why the inventory is up is that we're getting new builds coming on the market now. And again, naturally, because this time of the year is a bit slower, so that's helping ease the pressure that buyers are facing. And most of the inventory that's sticking around, though, is still priced over $600,000. So if you're looking at a townhouse buyer looking in like the 300s, 400s, it's going to be very tough. Like, that is still a very difficult market. Those buyers are having a tough time. You write an offer and the seller says, "Oh, my wife's flying. We can't look at the offer until tomorrow." Tomorrow comes, and all of a sudden there's 4 or 5 other offers. It's a bit of a mess, the townhouse market in the lower price ranges. But if you get over 600,000, the market is a bit more balanced, and that might, who knows what that looks like going forward, but my guess is things maybe start to balance out in the near future. And if we look at sales, they are down 10% year over year. So that looks bad just by that stat, but we're comparing it to one of the best months on record, which was last July. So you got to take it with a grain of salt. Sure, the sales are down. It's still very strong. Anything over 2,000 sales, in my opinion, is very strong. But it's down compared to last year. And one of the most interesting things is the months of supply is up 32.1% year over year. So this is a good indicator of how strong the market is. I think when this gets over 2 months, maybe pushing 3, that's more of a balanced market. And anything over that would be a buyer's market. So we're still definitely in a seller's market, but it depends on what housing category you're in, like I mentioned earlier. Like, the lower price ranges is very competitive. Once you get over like to $1 million, it's a bit more of a balanced market. But still, the months of supply is going up. That's the trend, and which should balance the market. But right now, it's still pretty good. And if you look at pricing, total residential price is still up 7.7% year over year to $606,700. That's the average of all of these together. So detached homes, duplexes, townhouses, and apartments. The detached average price, $767,800, up 11.2%. For duplexes, $687,900, that is up 11.9%. Now, that might seem very expensive, but a lot of these duplexes are brand new products. There are some older ones that aren't this high in price, but there are lots of infills that are brand new, which are quite nice. For townhouses, the average price up 14.6% to $464,200. Very tough markets, and same thing with the apartments. Anything in the lower price ranges, very difficult right now, and that is up 17% year over year to $346,000. And I'll just give you a snapshot regional breakdown. So in the city center, now this is the average for all product types. So the city center has a lot of condos, so this number is deceiving. It's actually, if you're looking at duplexes or single-family homes, they're quite expensive in the city center. But if you add them all up, all the different product types, the average is $612,900 in the city center. The west side, $732,900. This is mainly a single-family kind of jurisdiction, but there are still pockets of townhouses and condos. But very pricey area of the city, the west side. Next up is Northwest Calgary, $661,500, up 9%. And then typically the north, The South and the Southeast are usually around the same kind of average price range, $597, $594, and $579 in the North. And the most affordable parts of Calgary is the Northeast, $532, $900, up 12.7%, and the East Side at $447, $600, up 16.7% year over year. And quickly, if we look at this past July compared to the previous year's July, so the sales, like I mentioned, they're down 10% to 2,380. That's still very good. I think anything over 2,000 sales is generally pretty strong in Calgary. New listings are up 10.99% to 3,600. And the inventory, like I mentioned earlier, is up over 4,000 for the first time in 2 years, up 18.87% year over year. Months of supply, huge increase, 32%. 1.32 months was last year, and now it's 1.75 months. Again, this is the number. If nobody could list a property for sale, it would take 1.75 months to sell the remaining inventory on the market. So I think it's a good stat to look at. And let's skip here. Sales to list price, about the same. It's only down about 0.5%. So you can expect 100.08%. So if you're a buyer looking at it, expect to pay full list price at the moment. It depends on which price category that you're in, but on average, the sellers are getting their prices right now. Days on the market, 24 days. This includes the pending period, so like financing condition, home inspection, condo review, stuff like that, which usually takes 2 weeks. So this is actually moving very quickly. And the benchmark price up 7.74%. I prefer the median price, which is 14.24%. So the prices are going up in Calgary, but maybe that levels off into the future as we have more inventory coming on the market. Now, what does this mean if you're a seller? Now, I think that real estate is best described by supply and demand. And I've noticed that maybe the past 6 months, the inventory is growing gradually. And you have to expect that. We can't be in a red-hot seller's market forever. It's eventually going to balance out. And with the growing inventory that's happening just gradually, if I was a seller, I'd probably look at cashing out now before it's very noticeable that we've turned into maybe a balanced market. That's just my opinion. It's impossible to predict the real estate market. It's like the stock market. But if I was a seller, I'd probably look at it right now. Now, if you're a buyer, I'd probably just act anyways. If your plan is to live there for 20 years with your family, it doesn't matter if you bought it at 450 or slightly higher or slightly lower. Like it's too difficult to time that sort of price movement. So I'd probably jump in regardless if I was a buyer. And as a seller, I'd probably act as well. That's just my opinion, so take it for what it's worth. Thanks for watching. I'll see you on the next video.